You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
That should be dead. How do you trust them to run this program?
It's giving the inmates the keys to the jail doors.
Opioids. Doctors have to follow safety steps before prescribing them, but there is a problem. The one company distributing the drug is the same one enforcing the safety protocols. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on our in-depth opioid investigation in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. We know, may at least have some of the answers about the series of shootings that have had Newtown on edge. The man who police say is behind some of the shootings is in police custody tonight. The neighborhood hit with 4 shootings in just 5 days. As ABC7's Jess Dowdrick explains, the investigation continues.
Alan, detectives received some information that linked 32-year-old Joshua Bain to at least 2 of the Newtown shootings. After working for 36 hours straight, the investigation led detectives here to a small apartment complex near the intersection of Fruitville and Tuttle, where they say this morning they took Bain into custody. Joshua Bain is being charged with attempted murder in at least 2 of 4 shootings that happened between May 8th and May 13th in Newtown. But detectives won't say which ones he's linked to as their investigation continues. Bain has a lengthy criminal record, part of the reason detectives say they're glad he's off Sarasota streets. He's a 6-time convicted felon with more than 50 criminal charges in his past. Bain is being looked at as a suspect in the 2 unsolved shooting cases. Police recovered a firearm and ammunition when they arrested Bain. That will be tested to see if it was used in the other shootings.
And I'm very glad we were able to take him into custody without anyone being hurt and without any type of further incident. So I think our community should be proud of us and be grateful, and I know they are.
Police say this investigation is far from over. It's still unclear at this point if Bain acted alone or, again, if he is linked to the other 2 shootings. The victims ranged from ages 30 to 60, and police say they are all expected to survive. Reporting in Sarasota, Jess Dowdrick, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
The FBI in Tampa says it has caught this man within the last couple of hours. He is accused of robbing the Wells Fargo on Bee Ridge Road in Sarasota 2 weeks ago. According to bank personnel, the suspect passed a note to a teller demanding cash and then fled on foot. A big blow to Venice High School's football program. One of the financial donors for the program, Bill Buck Chevrolet, is dropping its sponsorship of the program and starting a petition to try to have former head coach John Peacock reinstated as head coach. School officials say they stand behind Peacock's firing after he liked a tweet that some viewed as racist. The diverging diamond on University Parkway and I-75 will officially be finished tomorrow, but a new project on yet another section of I-75 is about to begin. SR-64 is already under construction, and in the fall, SR-70 will be 2. Both state roads 64 and 70 and I-75 will get improvements to safety and how they operate. New auxiliary lanes will also be added to I-75 throughout State Road 64. The long-awaited roundabout on Ringling Boulevard and Orange Avenue is officially open today around 2 p.m. Construction workers cleared the scene, and the first couple of cars made their way through the streets that have been closed off for 6 months. The former Florida school resource officer who was criticized for his response to the February 14th Parkland shooting was still getting his pension. Scott Peterson's state pension is more than $8,700 a month. Peterson resigned after coming under fire for what some described as inaction when bullets began to fly at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. The investigation on the shooting continues. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan, with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Well, not much rain today, not nearly as much as anticipated by all the forecast models yesterday, but we did get some around earlier this morning. More out there, though, and it's going to be moving in our direction. What happened is some dry air wrapped around into the system and really shut things down. The area of low pressure also starting to fill up as it heads off into the panhandle of Florida. So that area of low pressure, as we thought, never developed into anything tropical, and it doesn't appear that it will do so. Temperatures are going to stay into the upper 60s to low 70s due to this onshore flow out of the south and southwest. You can see that quite clearly down south. It's been a bit breezy today. We had winds gusting as 20 miles an hour. And as far as that rainfall goes, you can see the heavier rainfall now in the Titan radar imagery showing that activity pushing off basically Central Florida to the northeast. Not much happening here along the immediate west coast of Florida. We are looking again at some showers developing later on tonight. Apologize for the audio problem there, but nonetheless, you can see that activity now over Polk County, also into Highlands County, northeast, Hardy County, all that heading off to the northeast right now. So no real threat of any significant rainfall over the next couple of hours here along the immediate coast, but later on tonight, a different story.
And of course, as long as the rain goes away, the love bugs come back.
That's right, they will. There's a 40% chance tomorrow.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, what is being done to help control the opioid epidemic? Stay with us.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
Since 2004, Embracing Our Differences has used the power of art and education to promote diversity. One way it accomplishes this is through its annual outdoor exhibition of 45 billboard-sized works of art, each accompanied by an inspirational quote. Join us in creating a community that is inclusive for all, where differences are embraced and individuality is celebrated. We invite you to celebrate the voices and visions of diversity and inclusion at this year's exhibit at Sarasota's Island Park.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with the family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, canoeing, camping, and more. Or challenge yourself on Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy a Deep South dining experience. Book your adventure in one of our members' lodges or stay at the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
ABC7, the Suncoast's official Florida lottery station.
Doctors are prescribing opioids so dangerous the federal government requires additional certification, but a Raycom national investigation discovered Big Pharma is administering regulatory control with the government's blessing. Here's Lee Zurich with a license to pill.
Headlines broadcasting big penalties.
McKesson has agreed to pay the U.S. government a record $150 million fine.
And repeat problems.
McKesson settled, paying more than $13 million in fines.
During the country's deadly opioid epidemic, the nation's largest drug distributor faces mounting lawsuits, sanctions, a company in the headlines for the wrong reasons.
McKesson Corporation overcharged them for drugs supplied to Medicaid patients.
But while the federal government has accused McKesson Corporation of suspicious business practices,
it sort of shocks your conscience.
In 2012, the same federal government entrusted McKesson to begin overseeing a program responsible for regulating whether doctors properly prescribe the most dangerous opioids on the market.
Does that really make sense?
No, it's given the inmates the the keys to the, to the jail doors.
About 7 years ago, the FDA approved what's called the Turf REMS program to prevent misuse and abuse of fast-acting fentanyl drugs, which can be up to 100 times more powerful than morphine. The Turf REMS website says these drugs are indicated only for the management of breakthrough pain in adult cancer patients who are already taking opioids.
The purpose of the Turf REMS program is to make sure that these drugs stay only with those that it's indicated for and it's proven safe for. And that has not happened. And having McKesson oversee it certainly is not going to serve that purpose.
Attorney Rick Hollowell calls the program a sham. Hollowell's client, Dina Demarest, may help explain why.
That should be dead. I never really said it out loud.
Following a minor surgery, a family friend referred Demarest to New York City doctor Jeffrey Goldstein, who prescribed her a powerful fentanyl spray for cancer pain, Subsys. Demarest never had cancer.
Did he tell you it's primarily for cancer patients?
Never.
Goldstein steadily increased the dosage amount to the highest allowed, 1,600 micrograms.
From what he was giving me, people died from a lot less.
Subsys is one of 10 drugs in the Turf REMS program. Program guidelines require doctors and their patients to both review and sign this form, which warns them of the seriousness of the Turf REMS drug.
Have you ever seen a form like this?
No.
You've never seen this? Can you look at it for me? You never signed this form?
No.
That form, part of the program administered by McKesson.
McKesson declined our request for an on-camera interview. They wouldn't tell us if Goldstein or any other doctor has been sanctioned. In an email, McKesson did write the requirements of a REMS program are developed jointly by the manufacturers and the FDA, with ultimate approval resting with the FDA. The FDA also declined our request for an interview. The FDA admits to a hands-off approach to the program. They don't even know the names of the doctors Turf REMS certified.
Something's strange, and it's not the normal business that you're used to.
Bill Renton spent nearly 50 years in drug enforcement, including a stretch as special agent in charge at the DEA.
I really don't know how Big Pharma got involved in managing a program that's designed to basically control Big Pharma.
Is that a conflict?
I certainly think so.
Doctors who want to prescribe drugs in this program need to complete an 11-question quiz, but it's an open book test with the answers easily found in this 9-page handout.
Is it safe to say you don't need a medical degree to pass this open book test?
No, you don't need a medical degree.
It's pretty easy.
You probably need a high school education and the ability to read it and answer the questions. It's very easy. And it's nothing complex.
The FDA is aware of serious concerns about drugs prescribed in this program. Its own website shows harmful reactions from patients given these potent drugs to treat relatively minor medical issues like migraines.
I don't think anybody treats migraines with morphine, much less fentanyl.
On McKesson's watch, the FDA's website shows doctors also prescribe these powerful drugs for groin pain, oral pain, and more.
Can you ever imagine fentanyl being used for a headache?
No.
A muscle spasm?
No.
Neck pain?
No.
With McKesson administering the program in a 3-year period, Turf REMS brand name prescriptions in Medicare more than doubled. Nearly 65% of the top 100 Turf REMS prescribers were family doctors, nurse practitioners, and other non-cancer, non-pain doctors.
McKesson had no interest in shutting people down from getting this drug because they supply the drug.
These Turf REMS drugs cost big money. Dina Demarest's insurance company spent up to $36,000 a month on her prescription, helping bring in big profits for drug companies like McKesson, ranked number 5 in the Fortune 500.
This market has been dominated by McKesson.
A company also in the headlines for making large returns for investors.
More than 239% over the last 5 years. In short, McKesson is a powerhouse.
And high-ranking leaders.
At the top is John Hammergren. He's the CEO of McKesson Corp. That's a healthcare company. He makes a whopping $131 million a year.
A company handed the keys to an opioid oversight program with the blessing of the federal government that also fined McKesson a record $150 million for fueling the opioid epidemic.
Federal government should step up, or the medical boards or the pharmacy board should step up and try and take over this program.
A federal grand jury indicted Goldstein in March for prescribing substances for kickbacks from the drugs maker Insys. Goldstein was not charged specifically for any turf REMS violations. Goldstein and Insys did not return a message for comment. In a moment, the trapezoid.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score. It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach. Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free. You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Everyone's buzzing about Suncoast View.
I like watching the Suncoast View.
I like the Suncoast View.
The cooking segments, I love the recipes. The theater segments are terrific.
Join Stephanie Roberts, Linda Carson, and special guests on Suncoast View for hot topics, everyday issues, celebrities, food, fashion, fitness, and everything in between. Nothing is off limits.
They're just fun.
For smart, fun talk in the afternoon, watch Suncoast View, weekdays at 4 on ABC7.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Welcome back. How often these days do you see lawmakers tripping over themselves to boast about what they're doing to battle the opioid crisis? So how come no one has done anything about this? A Raycom investigation uncovers how the federal government put a major drug manufacturer in charge of policing prescriptions of one of its own super powerful opioid pain medications, fentanyl, 100 times more powerful than morphine, meant only for cancer patients who need the strongest pain relief. Our investigation uncovered some doctors are prescribing it like candy, in some cases for headaches. Joining us for more are Melissa Larkin-Skinner, CEO of Centerstone, Sarasota City Commissioner Hagan Brody, and PJ Brooks of First Step. And first, let me get some of your reactions. Melissa, we saw in this case a woman who had routine surgery being prescribed the most powerful opioid medication that we really have. It just doesn't make sense.
Unfortunately, in our business, in the treatment business, we see it too often. And I think it's a lack of education. People don't know, and they trust their physicians, and they'll take whatever medication they're prescribed.
Is it a lack of education among the patients, but also the prescribers?
Perhaps both, and a desire to really treat pain too. I think it's sometimes an unintended consequence.
You know, Hagan, we see lawmakers both on the local, state, and federal level trying to do all sorts of things to get a hold of this terrible epidemic that we're in the middle of. I know that the city is joining other communities and other states, including Florida now, in terms of suing the manufacturers. What is the thinking behind that in terms of getting the drug manufacturers and distributors to be more accountable?
Well, if you look at the story you just aired, you know, there's two ways that you can address these types of issues. One is a preemptive way, or meant to be a preventative way. That's what the FDA's job is to prevent situations like this from occurring. This situation that you report on is clearly a situation where you got the fox guarding the hen house. The other way that you can address them is through the court system, but the problem with that is it's responsive. And so the path that the city of Sarasota is taking, and that I'm very proud of my commission for pursuing, is to recoup some of the costs that this opiate epidemic has cost us and is costing us and will continue to cost us into the future. In
terms of police response, in terms of Narcan usage and EMS services, that kind of thing?
That's the, yes. I mean, the costs of it are in many ways incalculable, but the way that we're addressing it is starting from the obvious costs and working our way out. This community and our taxpayers have really been devastated and affected by this epidemic, and you know, that's not even to speak of the moral issue and the really loss of life that everybody in this community has, I'm sure, been affected by.
PJ, Melissa mentioned that she has seen opioids being prescribed to people for migraine headaches. In terms of what you see at First Step, do you see the same thing? Does that account for a big chunk of the clients that you have there?
Historically, since the prescription drug epidemic started, yes. You know, it was very rarely did we see anybody coming in for treatment that was a cancer patient. That, you know, it was the individuals that were being prescribed for a broken leg or some other injury that I'm not a medical practitioner, but it just didn't seem to be warranted for the level of injury and the level of pain that probably was being experienced.
We only have a short time left here, but what you have seen there, how has that migrated basically up the food chain in terms of lawmakers to see that as a problem?
I think that what's happened is that from the medical community through the pharmaceutical industry, they're not policing themselves as well as I think maybe they could be. And I think what's happened is it's driven lawmakers to have to make some decisions around how to direct them to practice that they haven't been able to do for themselves.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more on our opioid investigation right after we check the First Alert weather. Stay with us.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, These doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
And our conversation on opioid manufacturers continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. Not much rain today. We had a few showers around, and the winds were really quite strong out of the southwest, up to 15 to 20 knots at times, causing some wave action there. This is from Casey Key taking you through the last 6 hours or so, and the sunset should be really nice. We had the first round of storms. Big storms firing up inland as a result of the heating of the day today. Temperatures warming into the upper 80s there, and just enough heat to create the lift to cause these showers and storms pushing toward the east coast. We'll see some redevelopment later on tonight. We already saw a brief shower right there just the last half hour or so. Moving on in to near Venice, some other activity starting to develop near Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte. You can see that, and that's what we're going to see tonight. So some quick hitting showers developing later on tonight, and then a little bit more action, I think, after midnight. The strongest cells by far into Highlands County, pushing off toward the east, and you can still see a steady stream of moisture. So the timing of the storms, I think, over the next couple of days will be overnight showers, a few thunderstorms in the morning along the coast, and the main focus will be inland areas in the afternoon, and then they'll come back again toward the Gulf of Mexico later on in the day. Well, the rainfall, again, not much here. Heavier rainfall earlier today over parts of Highlands County, up to 2 to 3 inches there, but we haven't had much here. The dry air kind of intruded in this morning. That also limited our activity, but now that's starting to move on out, allowing for these showers and storms to pop up. We're starting to see that in Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte and near Northport. So the forecast tonight does call for showers developing, and some of those could bring some moderate to heavy rainfall, occasional lightning strike. The area of low pressure that we have been monitoring has now moved inland and will continue to do so on Thursday morning. But it's left behind this little troughiness and moisture, and that will give us a chance for showers and scattered storms. Not everyone's going to get the rain. It's not going to be an all-day rain event. The storms will be moving rather quickly off to the north and northeast on that southwesterly flow. But for tomorrow, the main focus, there it is, that line of intense storms pushing off toward the east coast, but still a few are possible right along the immediate coast. We're going to get back into an afternoon and evening storm pattern coming back toward the coast from central Florida on Saturday and Sunday. And that's when we'll see a better chance for some coastal showers late in the day. Well, we're watching a flare-up of storms here in the Western Caribbean. Water temperatures in the mid-80s there. Conditions are somewhat favorable for development there. Not this week. And looks like a possibility of something popping up. Now, this isn't this Friday. This is the following Friday, showing a closed low moving off toward the western portion of Cuba. Pretty close to June 1st, not far off. In fact, even the European model is suggesting we may see something popping out here. When both these models start to show that from 7 days from now, it may be interesting to watch. But right now, we'll just kind of keep an eye on it down there. It's not too concerning at this point. But as I mentioned, water temperatures are much warmer there, 84 degrees, than they are here. So even if a storm were to develop, it wouldn't be all that strong or intense if it made its way into the Gulf of Mexico. So once again, we'll have a better handle on this by Monday of next week. So 7-day forecast, chance for scattered showers and storms. The timing I mentioned for the coastal areas in the morning, and then afternoon storms inland on Friday as well, but then they come back toward the coast on Saturday and Sunday. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Welcome back. We are talking about what the government is and is not doing in terms of regulating opioids. And joining us for more are Melissa Larkin-Skinner, CEO of Centerstone, Sarasota City Commissioner Hagan Brody, and PJ Brooks of First Step. Melissa, let me start with you. In terms of the clients that go through Centerstone and First Step, what percentage of them started with legally prescribed opioids and may have then turned to street drugs when they could not get prescriptions any longer?
I would estimate that to be between 70 and 80% at this point.
And PJ, have you seen a change over the years in terms of where people are currently getting their opioid medication from?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, our experience is consistent with what Melissa reported, that the path was almost exclusively, starting from 2007, 2008, on up until the institution of ordinances through the medical community. And it may be sold on the street after it was received from a doctor's office through a prescription, but it was almost exclusively now. Now it's kind of flipped. We're seeing more street drugs.
You know, in our past investigations, we talked to pain management specialists in our area who say they are very careful about how they prescribe these drugs, that the real problem here is when your primary care physician or another physician that may treat you for something is prescribing opioid medications, and they may not have the depth of knowledge and training that they have. Melissa, would you agree with that?
I would say that's probably true. And the other thing is emergency departments, and a lot of emergency departments across the country are stopping the prescriptions for opioids because of that reason. People come in pain, they try to address it, and opioids were a common answer.
Commissioner, I want to get in a couple points here. Number one, something that you referred to earlier, and that in the case that we investigated here, it almost seems like it's the fox guarding the hen house. As somebody who is in elected office right now, involved in government, how in the world did we have a situation where the federal government gave a drug manufacturer the job of policing its own prescriptions? It would seem almost like a conflict.
Well, yeah, and I don't know the specifics about how that occurred, but it's obvious to anybody with common sense that there's conflicting interests there. But going back to your point, you know, there are things that we can do that do work, and in this community, what had happened is we had the opiate and these clinics and doctors prescribing opiates really at record levels until the PDMP was implemented. And what the PDMP is a database that really almost overnight stopped doctor shopping. And so we saw a transition from all those folks who were getting addicted to the opiates to the pills, transition into street drugs, and that's now what we're dealing with today. The black market or the over-prescription of the pills has kind of dried up to a certain extent, and now we're dealing with the heroin and the opiates that people are getting off the street.
There are multiple fronts in this battle. You mentioned that the city is taking part in this lawsuit that goes after the drug manufacturers and distributors. A couple of questions here. Number one, what's the difference between what the city is trying to do and what Pam Bondi announced just yesterday in terms of joining other states who are going after the drug companies?
Same thing. You know, we're just one municipality, City of Sarasota. We were one of the first in the state to file this type of a lawsuit. Others have filed it in other parts of the country. Now the states are jumping in because all the different levels of government have experienced costs because of this. So we're all going after the same, basically trying to claw back some of the costs that our taxpayers have bore for years.
And you said to us earlier that the job here, or the goal here, is to prove liability of the drug companies and the distributors. What exactly do you mean by that?
It's to show that they acted in a way that was either unscrupulous or negligent in their marketing and the way they were selling. You know,
selling to people in general, or the physicians who then go on to prescribe?
To both, whether they were putting the ads on television or how they were telling the doctors to sell it, or what they were telling the doctors was were the specifics of the drug. If people aren't fully informed about a drug's side effects or addictive qualities, whether it's a doctor or a patient, they can't make an informed decision. And so if there were pharmaceutical companies that weren't fully informing the doctors and the communities that were using these drugs, then they need to pay for the result.
Melissa, so it seems like we are fighting this battle on a lot of different fronts. This would be one of them, the legal action that we're talking about here. You have other battles going on. I know Vern Buchanan is trying to crack down on fentanyl and other opioids being imported into the country by the U.S. mail. The question is, what are we not doing yet or not doing well enough?
I think we still need to make sure we have enough treatment centers, and that it's scrupulous treatment centers, because the state of Florida has had some issues with unscrupulous treatment centers.
What do you mean by that?
So over on the other coast in South Florida, they've had some bad actors in the space, and it gave us all a bad name. But treatment centers are good. We're here to do, to follow our mission to help people. Now, we have a problem. We've created this addiction problem, this epidemic, and it is absolutely an epidemic. And we have to be able to help the people who are already addicted. And then we also have to prevent addiction from developing in the future. So those are the two things that I think Representative Buchanan is focused on.
And PJ, in terms of what you see at First Step, how do you prevent addictions like this happening in the future? We've always in this country, or at least for the last several decades, have battled addictions of one sort or another.
The truth is that we really need to really engage at the youth level. We really need to, when we say prevention, we really need to be integrated within the school settings, within the communities in a much more meaningful way than we currently are. I think that we need to be able to, for better or for worse, the school setting is the path of the most consistent access to students, and those are the ones we need to get to them before they start the experimentation, and really engage them in a preventative way.
And Commissioner, you have dealt with this not only as a commissioner, but also as a former prosecutor and somebody who has grown up in this area and dealt with friends of yours who have had to deal with it firsthand.
Yeah, absolutely. Saddest thing in the world, is being in a courtroom and having, a childhood friend come through and clearly addicted to some very powerful drugs. It's what made me get back to this community, get back into public service.
Does anyone here tonight have any kind of real faith that the federal government will take up the underlying investigation that we saw tonight that the FDA has basically subcontracted out the job of regulating the prescriptions for some of the most potent opioids out there, Melissa? I think they will. I don't know how you can ignore it at this point. It's out in public and everybody's going to be asking questions. You know, PJ, it is obviously a bipartisan issue. This is not a Democrat or a Republican issue, but there's also a lot of big pharma money that flows to members of Congress.
And, you know, I think about that, and I think about the challenges with it, but I think that if we believe that our public officials have integrity, like the gentleman next to me, I think that they're going to have no choice but to stand up and take a good hard look at what's going on.
Hagen?
You know, just going back to your point, we are very lucky because we have a community that has a lot of great participants and pieces to this puzzle. So I do think that we are moving in the right direction. You know, but it's about stopping that revolving door. And we have good facilities that are treating people that are trying to stop that revolving door. And we need to support them.
Okay, we have to take a quick break and we'll be back for our final thoughts in just a moment.
So, how many of us feel completely confident about our financial future? Let's hear some specifics. Yes, go ahead.
I don't want to be a burden to my kids. When my husband died, it took almost all of our savings to give him a proper funeral. I honestly don't know if there's enough to bury me, let alone cover expenses should something happen.
Okay, let's talk solutions. One thing you may want to get in place is a guaranteed whole life insurance policy from United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, which is a Mutual of Omaha company. This is affordable coverage, which provides a cash payment which can cover funeral expenses, bills, and other financial needs. Most payments are on their way within 24 hours. Yes, sir.
I need medical exams, things like that.
No medical exams. If you're between the ages of 45 and 85, you can call this number or you can go online and apply for coverage up to $25,000. United of Omaha Guaranteed Whole Life Insurance. Call or go online now.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
My life motto is keep moving. And as hard as it was when my husband passed away, I knew I had to keep doing what I love. Oops, coming. But I needed help with my insurance, and that's what the NAIC provides. They have resources to help you and your family make the best decision, and they'll help you to keep moving forward, just like me.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. Melissa, I often say on this broadcast that Florida ranks last or dead last in the entire country in terms of the money it spends on mental health issues. Is that getting any better?
It has not so far. We do have champions in both the House and the Senate and the governor's staff who push for more, but we have a situation where other things take priority.
Commissioner, what is the city doing in terms of getting our legislative delegation? We're talking about Joe Gruters or Greg Stubbe or anybody else to pressure Tallahassee to provide more services and more beds for people who are getting hooked, because of pain medications.
Well, we have this conversation all the time. They live in this community. They know the reality of it very well. And the reality is the tax dollars are being spent. It's just about, are you spending them wisely? You're either reincarcerating people and you're sending people to the same treatment centers that aren't effective, or you're doing something about it and you're sending them to effective treatment centers and you're stopping that kind of revolving door that I was talking about.
We shouldn't bury the lead here, PJ, but you're saying you're getting a cut in the terms of the number of beds available.
Florida Department of Corrections has made a decision to cut treatment dollars for residential treatment by 40%. So there's a 40% reduction across the state in treatment beds available for felony probationers who often were charged with possession of prescription drugs and other things like that. So in our community, that's a net loss of 26 residential treatment beds at a cost of about $500,000. And that also means that there's going to be a huge waiting list for those who are going to be seeking treatment going into the future that are not going to be able to access it and have to sit in jail, sit in prison.
Your government at work. Thank you all. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show on trade schools. Trade schools appear to be making a comeback. A lack of skilled labor force is impacting an increasing number of companies which have jobs but no available workers. So we went to Facebook for your thoughts, and Laura says, not everyone needs to be a lawyer, doctor, etc. There is nothing wrong with learning a trade. We will always need them, and honestly, there's a lot of trades that make for a better living than higher degrees. Sylvia says we need people in the trades. However, what people fail to realize is that the trades are hard work and your body will break down quicker. Then what? Lee says there are kids who are perfectly suited for college and others are not. Trade schools are for those who are not, but have the attitude to work hard, learn a skill, and show up for work every day. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Melissa Larkin-Skinner is the CEO of Centerstone, Sarasota City Commissioner Hagan Brody, and PJ Brooks of First Step. When we return, we'll have a final look at your First Alert forecast, plus documents being released by the Senate Judiciary Committee showing the Trump campaign officials sat down with the Russians. What else did they reveal? We'll tell you after the break.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours. Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Spectacular, Alan, spectacular. You and the sunset right here. Get a look at it. The clouds moving overhead. This is from our tower cam shot. And those low clouds containing some rainfall. We're going to see a few passing showers through the evening and overnight too. And some of those could contain some Lightning, which means rumble of thunder in the early morning hours. Hopefully it doesn't wake you up, but boy, they're getting a lot of that now in Orlando, over in Daytona Beach, up near Jacksonville. The heat of the day really firing these storms off, pushing to the east right now. And we're starting to see a little development. We had this dry air filter in, kind of rotating around this area of low pressure, which shut the storms down throughout much of the day for us here. Cleared skies out, a lot of sunshine, and now that dry air is starting to move on, and we're seeing a brief shower or two pop up. Look at all this action here into Tampa Bay, heading off toward, looks like, again, I-75 and Interstate 4, and then down south, right into Arcadia. Fast-moving storm right there. Really has just exploded within the last half hour. Not much right now, but as I mentioned, these things can pop up real quickly. They won't be around long if they do move through your neighborhood, about 5 minutes at most, unless it's training, and we're seeing some of that now starting to develop into Arcadia. But more and more, look at this. This has just popped up in the last half hour, indicating that there's plenty of moisture out there now, as that dry air was around earlier. There it is. Kept skies clear. Now that's exiting to the northeast, and now we'll see a good chance for scattered storms throughout this evening. On again and off again. Not everyone's going to get it, but more so, I think, concentrated after midnight, and that kind of shows that at 2:30, some pretty big storms depicted by this model. And then in the morning, right around sunrise, clouds mixed with some clearing, but still a chance for some morning coastal showers. You'll notice, though, storms will again build up in the interior portion of the area in the afternoon and evening, pushing toward the east coast. This pattern will persist on Friday, too, as that southwesterly flow will still be around. But by Saturday, it switches more to an east-southeasterly direction, bringing the storms closer to the coast in the afternoon and evening. A lot of moisture down here. Western Caribbean Sea, no organization or circulation there, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. Water temperatures are very warm down to our south, not as much so in the Gulf. You take a look at some of the temperatures here into the upper 70s, down south into the mid 80s. And then over here in the Pacific, which they're already starting to see hurricane season, they're into the 90s. So that's the reason why they get a little faster start there due to the warmer waters. Winds out of the south tomorrow. That's the forecast. 10 to 15. We'll have gusts as high as 20. Will be another breezy day with an occasional shower or two scattered about. The rain chance tomorrow at 40%. Currently, it's 81. We have a few clouds and the relative humidity at 74%. Winds are out of the south at 15. And the pressure now 29.94 inches. That's actually rising a little bit. The high today got up to 85, pretty close to the average. This morning's low was just a little bit warmer than average. Scattered storms tomorrow. Otherwise, south winds at 15 knots. Seas will be 2 to 3 feet. And a moderate chop out there. So 40% chance for scattered showers and storms tomorrow. 50 on Friday, 60 on Saturday and Sunday. And these will have a tendency to work back toward the coast late in the afternoon and evening. And the rain chances staying fairly elevated right through Tuesday of next week. Primetime headlines. It's up next with Alan. Stick around.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on a pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score. It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach. Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free. You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
There's nothing
nothing like this trail in Alabama. It just goes from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state. We see all kind of different terrains, great value, great fun. We've been coming for 18 years. We started off with a group of 8, grew to 12, and grew to 16. And we love it because where else can you get world-class golf courses with world-class accommodations? To be able to play these type of courses in this environment, and the difficulty keeps us coming back over and over and over again.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
Checking primetime headlines, thousands of documents released by the Senate Judiciary Committee shedding more light about how top Trump campaign officials ended up sitting down with Russians inside Trump Tower who promised dirt on Hillary Clinton. ABC's Tara Palmieri is in Washington with what the documents found.
The Senate Judiciary Committee releasing 2,500 pages of inside accounts and documents on what happened at that infamous Trump Tower meeting between senior Trump campaign officials and Russian emissaries.
The public has a right to know, and the public can go through these 2,000 pages and make up their own mind.
The meeting happened 2 weeks after President Trump secured the Republican nomination. Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and campaign chairman Paul Manafort sat down with a Russian lawyer at the behest of a music agent for a Russian pop star whose father had close ties to the Kremlin. The agent promising political dirt on Hillary Clinton. But according to the transcript of their testimony, that promise was never fulfilled. And Donald Trump Jr. also told the committee that he never told his father about the meeting before and does not think he told him about it after, saying, quote, "I wouldn't have wasted his time with it." But a member of the committee seemed doubtful.
Contention that there was no conversation whatsoever with the president by Donald Trump Jr. defies credibility.
The testimony also sheds light on how Donald Trump Jr. put together his first public response to the meeting. The first version of the statement claimed that the meeting was only about adoptions and failed to mention the promise of political dirt. In Donald Trump Jr.'s testimony, he acknowledges that his father may have had some influence on the statement through former White House aide Hope Hicks, telling the committee, "He may have commented through Hope Hicks. I believe some of Trump's comments may have been incorporated into the formal response. But this was an effort through lots of people, mostly counsel." Special counsel Robert Mueller is reportedly investigating President Trump's influence on the statement in his probe into possible obstruction of justice. Tara Palmieri, ABC News, Washington.
For the first time, President Trump has acknowledged he repaid his lawyer Michael Cohen more than $100,000 in expenses Cohen incurred during the 2016 presidential election. The president's financial disclosure form was made public today, did not explicitly state what the payments were for, but Trump's lawyers have previously said Trump reimbursed Cohen for the $130,000 hush money he made to porn star Stormy Daniels. Daniels says she was paid the money to keep quiet about an affair she had with Trump that Trump denies happened. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.